Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Western Centurion channel, and just a quick update on the 00 gauge layout in my garage. I've done a bit more, as I'm just about to show you. I've now got the baseboard all cut, particularly the ply, which was what I was waiting to do, and with a bit of poly filler I've filled in the joints and the holes for the screws. It's come on quite nicely. I've also put this triangle section in just to widen it out, as you can see, make it a lot easier for the curves when I put them in. The other thing I had to do is, on one of the previous emails I said, was that there was a good 2-inch drop between the chipboard and the plywood, so I had to get the electric planer out and run that along and get as much off as I could, and then go over it with a sander just to finish it off and smooth it out, and that's worked quite well. I think there's just a gentle drop now, which shouldn't affect anything. If it does, then I'll just have to do a bit more, but I think it should be fine. I managed to get this done Saturday before I went out Saturday night, which is just as well, because I was actually in no fit state to do anything on Sunday, which is why this update is being done today, which is Monday. Yeah, we didn't get in till 3:30 Sunday morning, and then I was up again at 6 to do the chickens, and that just about did me in. But anyway, yes, I managed to get quite a bit done. I'm pretty happy with it at the moment. Hopefully the damp won't affect it. That's still my main concern, but it should be alright. Fingers crossed. So the next update will be when I've sanded it all down, and probably put a section up here. Well, this is the bit I'll be looking at next, is how to make the leap from one side to the other. Got a couple of ideas rolling around in my head now, which I'll try and put into practice. But yes, hopefully this weekend I'm not doing anything, so I can spend a couple of hours playing around and see what I can come up to, or come up with. The other thing I've been doing, generally like when I get home from work in the evenings, was the idea of the fiddle yard. I've come up with this idea here, which is where I have 6 lengths of track. There'll be additional track added onto the ends of these up to the end here, so that should take us up to, let's have a look, that's 60 inches to there, so that's about 6 carriages if we're going by them being about 10 inches long. But I gave 64 here, 64 inches, so that when they're there they shouldn't touch, I hope. I've gone for the 3-way point. These points are old ones which were from my dad. You see, they could do with a good clean up, and they're not electro frog, the initial frog. Obviously I've still got to decide what I'm going to do, but I did want to use some of his track on the layout, so that's probably what I'll use it for, is in the fiddle yard. So I'll clean those up, and when I come around to wiring them up, I'll probably just put some dropper wires in and try and wire up as much as I can individually. But then the thing is like, where will I fit it if it's 8 feet long? Initially thought about putting it from about here, which would then take us all the way down to here. That's 8 feet. So from there up to nearly where that triangle is, and it'll be in this section here somewhere where there'd be some track coming up to meet it. And then it was like, well, how am I going to fit it there. I don't want it there permanently, because that would just take up way too much room. That will make it 4 feet along there, and considering this is a working garage as well, and storing stuff, I need to be able to get underneath, and already it's going to be a little bit, a bit more tricky with an extra foot overhang. So I thought if I could have something that would like have the board here, and then when I needed it we could swing it out and it would come up and go level there. And I had this brainwave, so I came home and I knocked something out really quick. This is in 15 minutes this took me, and here it is. Got the idea after thinking about television brackets there. So we've got a couple of arms at the back. If I show you, and I pull it forward, there. Ooh. Bit tricky trying to hold the camera, but yeah. Then in place. And then when we want to go back, just pull it down. Ooh. That should hit the stop, and the rest goes back into place. Right, so just remember this is just made out of wood. I'll probably look at making it out of metal, I expect. Or if I was going to make it out of wood, then this arm here and this one would have to be a lot longer. So I'd look at extending this down here and having it bolted onto the side, so that at least I can come out a lot more. And there'd be 3 of those. This is just like replicating the board. Obviously that'll be 8 feet, and that'll be 3 of them along there. And then the problem is I need to add springs to it to counterbalance, so it doesn't, when you're moving it, it just doesn't drop down and crash down. So there's that option, which is a complicated one. The other one, if I get this piece of wood here, is basically just some wood that can go under here, and I'd put 2 bolts would be sunk in the baseboard and covered over. There's some holes drilled through here, so in theory you put this in, the bolts will slide through, and then put some wing nuts on underneath, and then the fiddle yard would just sit on top of that wood when I wanted to use it. Then when I wasn't using it, I could put some brackets on here that came out, and it would just sit on there. I wouldn't have any wagons or no rolling stock on it, or coaches or locos when it's not in use. It's only be brought out and put on there to store to load things up, to get them onto the track. That's the plan at the moment. I've got to decide which one I'm going to go for. Any of you got any preferences, please just say, and I'll have a look to see which way to do it. I like the idea of the mechanical arm. I'm going to look into that further, but I say the problem is going to be with the springs, and seeing there's going to be 3 of them, it's going to be a nightmare to get that balance right, so all 3 at the move at the same time, and you get the correct height all the way along with all 3 mechanical arms when it's up. But it's a challenge, and I like challenges, and yeah, I'll give that a go. I suppose the other option I thought of was on this section here, just making this into the fiddle yard, but a scenic fiddle yard. So we'll have a lot of the coaches can just sit there, everything else goes on behind here, and then I can have the loco can come in from around here somewhere, like there, and come in and collect the coaches. If I wanted a 12 rake a 12 rake of coaches, it could pick up 1 rake of 6 and then reverse into another siding and pick up the last 6 to make it a 12 rake. That's still a lot to do, Still a lot of ideas, and I dare say all of that will change again by next weekend or the weekend after. But that's the best thing about it, I think, is in the planning. Absolutely love it, and I expect all of you do as well. So yeah, really that's all. Hang on a minute. Down here, the Dapple stove van, or stove, focus, stove R. I got this free with Hornby magazine when I subscribed. I'll do a review on it at some point or other. I'm just doing some bit of research on the internet about it. There's some good points and bad points, so I'll go into a little bit more depth on the review. Not sure when I'll do that, probably be on a really wet, rainy day. But I hope you look forward to that. And yes, that's about it for today. Alright, thank you very much for joining me, and if you liked, again, please press the like button, and if you want to see further updates, then subscribe. So thank you very much everyone, and hopefully this weekend I'll have another update. Alright, enjoy your evening, bye bye.